So all are requested to kindly be seated as we have our Honorable Minister who will be arriving within next few minutes. Let's hear it for Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, who's been kind enough to be here with us.
स्टार्ट कर देंगे शोभा नाडा के बाद। हाँ ठीक है ना। हाँ शोभा नाडा का वी अवार्ड स्टार्ट कर देंगे। ठीक है ना। ये हो जाएगा तो ये सेक्रेटरी बोल देंगे और
This is script now.
Distinguished dignitaries, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all today to this beautiful afternoon as we are gathered here to celebrate the International Volunteer Day 2022 and the 5th edition of Volunteer Awards. It celebrates the commitment, courage, compassion, and care that volunteerism stands for. The International Volunteer Day, IVD, is celebrated on the 5th of December annually to recognize and promote the tireless work of volunteers across the globe. The theme for IVD 2022 is Solidarity through Volunteering. My name is Mridu Tripathi, and I take great pleasure in being your host here this evening. Joining me are sign language interpreters. Preeti and Saurabh will be joining us later, who will interpret the proceedings of today for differently abled persons. This event is also being live streamed on the UNV India, UNV Asia Pacific region, and UNDP India Facebook pages. Please follow on social media, handle at UNV_India on Twitter, and use the hashtags together act now and hashtag IVD 2022 and hashtag volunteer now to celebrate volunteerism and our youth. In this august gathering, it's an honor to be among dignitaries from the Government of India, United Nations, and partner organizations, present here to ensure that our message of indebtedness carries through to the hearts of volunteers and those who have wholeheartedly supported the task for nation building. We are indeed elated to have you all here with us this evening. We will begin with UN Volunteers Anthem, Together We Can. We are pleased to have the composer of the anthem, Mr. Abdullah Safa, also here with us. I now invite the students of class 7 to 11 from ASN Senior Secondary School to perform on stage. Please, let's welcome them with a huge round of applause.
We are the ones who can make the world a better place to live. Clear blue skies and clean rivers. Standing up together is all it takes. Tap your feet and clap your hands. Join the rhythm we can. We will overcome all hurdles. Together we are one. Big blue heart. Big blue heart. Big blue heart. Big blue heart.
जब एक है सपना सबका,
जब एक है सपना सबका,
साथ बदलेंगे कल अपना,
साथ बदलेंगे कल अपना,
प्यार बांटना हमारा काम,
प्यार बांटना हमारा काम,
प्यार ही है इनाम अपना,
प्यार ही है इनाम अपना,
सब मिल करेंगे ये कोशिश, नीले आसमां जैसा हो दिल, दूर होगी हर मुश्किल, नीले आसमां नीला दिल.
Tap your feet and clap your hands. Join the rhythm we can. We will overcome all hurdles. Together we are one. Tap your feet and clap your hands. Join the rhythm we can. We will overcome all hurdles. Together we are one.
Thank you, children, for that very spirited performance. I now invite Ridhika Soni for her performance of Bharatanatyam. She is an awardee of the Government of India Scholarship and has performed at various national level platforms. Ridhika is currently a student of psychology at Lady Shri Ram College and a UN Millennium Fellow 2022. Today, she is performing a piece from Leela Sukha's Krishna Karuna Amritam, where the dancer describes the beauty of Lord Krishna and how his flute enchants everyone, the birds, animals, cows, and of course, the gopis. That was spectacular. Thank you, Ridhika, for that very mesmerizing performance. And now, give us just a few moments to set up the stage for inviting our honorable dignitaries. I now have the honor of inviting on stage all our dignitaries. First and foremost, Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Anurag Singh Thakurji, Shri Shombi Sharp, United Nations Resident Coordinator in India, Ms. Meeta Rajiv Lochan, Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ms. Shoko Noda, Resident Representative, UNDP, India, Shri Nitesh Kumar Mishra, Joint Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Ms. Cynthia McCaffrey, Representative, UNICEF, India, Ms. Andrea Wojna, UNFPA Representative, India and Country Director, Bhutan, Shri Rajinder Singh, Member, National Disaster Management Authority, Government of India, Shri Ravi Bhatnagar, Director of External Affairs and Partnerships, Reket Benkinsa, Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager, Asia and Pacific, Bangkok, UN Volunteers. Now that we've all settled down, I request Ms. Shoko Noda, Resident Representative, UNDP, India, for her welcome remarks.
Mr. Anurag Singh Thakur, Honorable Minister of Youth and Youth Affairs and Sports, Ms. Meeta Lochan, Secretary, Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Ravi Bhatnagar, Director of External Affairs and Partnership, Rakit, colleagues from UN and friends, and all the representatives and volunteers, very, very good evening. I am truly honored to welcome all of you to commemorate the International Volunteer Day, to celebrate Swayam Seva, the individual spirit of service before self. And I have learned this word exactly 3 years ago on this occasion, because the word was repeatedly mentioned in one of the speaker's speech. And since then, I really appreciated this word, Swayam Seva. Globally, over 1 billion volunteers work in services of the communities, demonstrating their and your commitment to advancing peace, empowering communities, and hopefully a lot of women, climate action, and reducing inequalities. You are, and they are, the first responders, the first line of defense, providing immediate help and relief to communities around them. In India, I see a strong commitment among people, and then, as I said, the spirit of Swayam Seva, especially among young people, to make a very positive change and bring hope to everybody. For instance, during the COVID pandemic, I was moved by the extraordinary stories of people going out of their way to help others, displaying hope and solidarity in those difficult times. These stories inspire us all, inspire me personally, and to do better, to do more for the people and communities we serve. UNDP is very proud to hosting the United Nations Volunteers Program. In 2022, over 11,000 UNVs served with 56 entities as part of the UNV program globally. And out of 11,000 UNVs, 105 Indians are working abroad as UNV. And additional 187 Indian national UNVs are working here. So this adds up to almost 300 UNVs, Indian UNVs, and that is about 2.7% of the whole UNVs. That's quite a remarkable number. Plus, in India, we have 200 UNVs, including these 187 national volunteers, serving 7 UN agencies. Volunteers are true champions of our work to advance sustainable development, always putting people and communities first. As the world slowly recovers from pandemic, volunteers are helping communities to build forward better. As climate change tightens its grip, volunteers are leading the climate actions, and volunteers are giving voice to those typically left behind. The UNV program is proud of working with the government of India to support the progress on youth development. On behalf of UNDP and UNV, I take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Thakur, for your leadership and the faith your ministry continues to put in the UNV program towards accelerating volunteerism in India. It's my honor today to celebrate some of India's inspiring youth who are building transformative changes in the lives of the people through volunteering. The V Award, instituted by UNV in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, is our way of recognizing the invaluable contribution of young volunteers. And I'm very happy to have you all here in person, because the last time we had this event was in 2019, just right before the pandemic started, and it's been we've been organizing this virtually for the past 2 years. So my heartiest congratulations to 10 winners. And today on International Volunteer Day, let us honor the commitment of volunteers to improve the world around them and around us, and accelerate the progress on SDGs for people and planet. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for lifting high the spirit of volunteerism that we are all gathered here to celebrate, and for applauding the Seva Bhav, which is inherent in Indian culture. It's time now to start the much-awaited celebrations of the V Awards. The V Awards were instituted by UN Volunteers India in partnership with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, and United Nations Development Programme. The awards recognize young volunteers from across the country who have demonstrated exceptional impact in communities while addressing developmental challenges. In this 5th edition of the V Awards, I request Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, to confer these awards, as we also take you through the brief journey of the inspirational volunteering of our top 10 V Awardees 2022. So the first name in the list is that of Adhi Dev. Please, you can all join us here as he awards the awardees. Akash Singh. Aryan Jain. Next is Ashwini Ramesh. Coming up next is Bharat Bisati. Gobanu Korisipati. Mohammad Siraj. Mohana Chandra. Coming up now is Nav Agarwal. Our next awardee is Sanskriti Dalvi. Receiving award on her behalf is Radhe Sham. Please, all the awardees come on stage for a group photograph. All of you. We thank all the awardees for being a beacon of youth volunteerism and for upholding the necessity for each one volunteering now to join hands for building our common future together. Let's hear it for the phenomenal work these awardees have done. They have been selected by a very eminent jury. Out of 100 applications, only 10 were selected. So let's hear a big round of applause. We thank Honorable Minister for doing the honors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege now to invite Mr. Shombi Sharp, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in India, to deliver the message of the UN Secretary General and also for his own address. Mr. Shombi Sharp.
Honorable Minister Excellency Anurag Singh Thakur, Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ms. Mita Lochan, Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Nitesh Kumar Mishra, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Bhatnagar, Director of External Affairs and Partnerships of Reckitt, our partner, my dear colleagues from the United Nations system agencies here, and most of all, let me welcome you, dear young people, volunteers, for joining us here today. Namaskar to everyone. Aap sabko UN House mein swagat hai. On behalf of the United Nations, collectively speaking, together with my agency representative colleagues, and on behalf of the United Nations Secretary General, it's a wonderful honor to be here to celebrate International Volunteer Day 2022. And I'd like to thank again also the UN colleagues here on the stage for working together, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports for working together to help make this all possible, and including the 5th edition of the Volunteer Awards 2022. I will start by sharing with you the words of the UN Secretary General on this day, and I quote, "On International Volunteer Day, we honor the commitments and the contributions of volunteers towards building fairer societies and a healthier planet. Through their selfless service, volunteers show the best of humanity. They are true champions of our work to advance peace, sustainable development, and human rights. And their spirit of giving enriches all. This year's theme, Solidarity Through Volunteering, highlights the importance of coming together to care for one another. It is a reminder that everyone has a role to play. Wherever you live, whatever your skills, I urge you to take action. Volunteer your time, volunteer your talent, volunteer your experience. Today and every day, let us take inspiration from all of those who, through acts of solidarity, large and small, improve our world. And let us resolve to do our part to forge a better future for all. End of quote. And I think it is such a pleasure and so timely to celebrate this day here in India, a country which expresses the spirit of volunteerism more than any other I've seen. And I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to travel to so many different states, to visit so many different communities and villages, and to see this firsthand. We saw, of course, the power of volunteerism during the COVID pandemic, when so many, especially young people, volunteered to keep communities safe and informed. We've seen it in self-help associations across the country, from Seva to many others. We've seen it at beach cleanups, for example, in Varsava Beach in Mumbai, the largest beach cleanup in the world, in which I had the honor to participate. And so many of the fantastic examples of volunteerism demonstrated by those of you with us here today. Volunteerism is actually a way that many of my colleagues got started in the field of international development and diplomacy. I myself started my career in advertising and felt a little bit unfulfilled and decided to volunteer in Zimbabwe for 1 year. And I never looked back. It was the best decision of my life. And indeed, I'm benefiting when I speak to you on many occasions from our very own UN volunteer, Sami, in the resident coordinator's office. Thank you, Sami, for your excellent talking points. And to all of the volunteers here today, the work that you are doing, the passion that you are bringing to your return of the communal spirit is incredible and cuts across all of the Sustainable Development Goals. We've seen you combat misinformation, educate children as adolescents to protect communities from the increasing climate crisis across the world, helping essential services, providing support to health workers, and most of all, keeping the promise of the global community to leave no one behind. So this year's theme, Solidarity Through Volunteering, emphasizes the very need for collective, collaborative action across governments, across the international community, civil societies, business, NGOs, and local partners. I'm so pleased to have all of these entities represented here today. The reports of the Secretary General on volunteering for the 2030 Agenda highlights how important the spirit of volunteering is to achieve the SDGs. And in fact, we see this in so many different ways here in India. The recently launched Prime Minister's Initiative of Life, Lifestyles for the Environment, for example, precisely harnesses this power, this momentum of each one of us as individuals to help combat climate change, to create a Jan Andolan across not just the country, but across the world. And I'm so pleased that volunteerism and the core spirit of the SDGs is being brought to the world through India's recently launched presidency of the G20. I was very honored to take part in Mumbai of the kickoff just yesterday, and so impressed by the degree to which India is taking the SDGs to the G20 platform. Today, we have just honored those finalists in the volunteer award categories. And I think that, and the winners, of course, reflecting, though it's the tip of the iceberg, everybody is a winner today. All of you who have participated, the 100 submissions, and the many more hundreds and thousands of you young people who are engaging in volunteerism for the betterment of your communities. You are all winners, and you are all inspiring many others, not just potentially millions here in India, but across the world. So, again, in the spirit of the day, solidarity through volunteering, solidarity. This is also an intergenerational commitment. It is very much about you, the young people, about the greatest generation in the history of the world here in India. And it's about working together with the rest of us. Vojo Dilse Young Hai here on the panel. I appreciate very much you coming here to be with us, and I wish to conclude again in welcoming all of you to UN House and wishing you, आप सबको International Volunteer Day की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं है. बहुत धन्यवाद.
बहुत धन्यवाद आपका शोम्बी सर. Your words of encouragement for our youth volunteers and the community of advocates of volunteerism will be cherished by us, and please convey our gratitude to UN Secretary General for the lovely message and his sentiments that are there with us today. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my absolute honor and privilege as I now invite Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, for his keynote address.
Dignitaries on the dais, my dear young friends and volunteers, it gives me great pleasure to be here amongst you all today. This is a special time of the year as we celebrate the International Volunteer Day 2022 today. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, I would like to thank all the dedicated organizations and champions working tirelessly and volunteering to bring relief and respite, peace and prosperity for the people of the country and the world at large. First of all, my heartfelt congratulations to all the winners and for the kind of work they have put in. Good to hear what they are doing in different areas, from water conservation to climate change, from education to creating an app for the more self-employment to other opportunities. So it shows that the kind of young talent what we have, they are the right people selected by you. And let me once again thank all the bodies and all the winners for their efforts who have put in the last so many months, especially during the pandemic time. Since time immemorial, seva or selfless service as a value is deeply rooted amongst Indians. Therefore, the value of volunteering have been embedded in our cultural ethos and in our Sanskriti since the very start. This year and the year before especially has not been easy for anyone. The pandemic has tested our patience, increased impediments, and hurled multiple difficulties on our path to progress. However, during these challenging times, we have also witnessed the best of humanity as people preserved. They were restless, resilient in the face of adversity. The spirit of volunteering shone brightly in each and every one of us. People from every nook and corner of the country, especially our youngsters, stood up and supported each other and all around them. The unwavering spirit of volunteering and community service that the youth of India and the world at large have shown in these tough times, especially at the front line of social, economical, medical and communities response, is truly commendable. No distance, difference and boundary stopped us from extending a hand of support and volunteering now for our common future. It was the youth who played a critical role. Your voice and actions were big and bold. You were the loudest and swiftest change makers when the world needed you the most. My dear volunteers, you already are the change makers and our future leaders who will pave the way for peace, prosperity, and progress. You are our honored partners in building a better today and even a more brilliant tomorrow. Today on International Volunteer Day, I take this opportunity to honor the dedication, selfless service, willpower, and affirmative actions of outstanding volunteers across India and the world over. We all make New Year resolutions in December to plan better for the future. As you all look at making New Year resolutions and promises, I want to ask you, how many of you are aware of the Pradhan Mantri's Panch Pran or 5 resolutions? Can anyone name those 5 resolutions? Panch Pran? If anyone, let me also remind you again, because he spoke about that on the 15th of August from the Red Fort. The first is for the country to move ahead with a big resolve, that of a developed India. The second is to liberate ourselves of the colonial mindset of slavery and believe in ourselves, in our Shakti. The third is to feel proud of our heritage and legacy. Our rich cultural heritage has an innate capability of transforming itself with time. Our Honorable PM has time and again emphasized that it is this rich heritage that transcends the test of tides and times. We must be proud of it. The fourth is upholding unity and solidarity. Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat is one of the unifying initiatives to equate the dream of the fourth Pran. The fifth is the duty of the citizens of its people and the country. You all must be responsible citizens and fulfill your duty to your nation. Prime Minister Modi's Panch Pran resolutions will help you and India unleash its true potential towards becoming a developed and prosperous nation by 2047. और जब मैं पंच प्रण की बात करता हूँ तो मैं बार बार इसलिए भी याद करवाना चाहता हूँ कि अगर विकसित भारत बनाना है तो गुलामी की सोच और मानसिकता से बाहर निकलना होगा। अपने गौरवशाली इतिहास पर हम सबको गर्व भी करना होगा। एकता एकजुटता के साथ अपना कर्तव्य निभाते हुए कर्तव्य पथ पर हमें चलकर विकसित भारत जो लक्ष्य हमारा 2047 का है उससे पहले बनाकर तैयार करना होगा। And you all must resolve to abide by the Panch Pran in order to enable yourself and the country to progress in the Amrit Kal. The role of the young volunteers like yourselves will play a pivotal role in attaining Honorable Prime Minister's vision of India at 2047. At the cornerstone of energizing Yuva Shakti, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports of the Government of India, along with its partners and stakeholders, remain dedicated to promoting youth action and youth volunteerism in India. To optimally engage the constructive and creative energies of the youth, the Department of Youth Affairs pursue the twin objectives of the personality building and nation building, that is, developing the personality of youth and adolescents and involving them in various nation building activities. The program of the Government of India, the Nehru Yuva Sangathan and the National Service Scheme are one of the world's largest volunteering platforms of the youth. The Government of India is committed and invested in youth development as we continue to strengthen the foundations of education, entrepreneurship, skilling and employment in India. As India enters into the Amrit Kal with vibrancy, policy, agility and prowess, I see that the millions of young women and men are joining hands to volunteer for planning and executing community welfare activities to make the country of our dreams a reality. Today, we felicitate 10 outstanding young Indians who have relentlessly worked in these challenging times to bring hope and change in the life of others. These young Indians have knowingly or unknowingly built a better community and a better country through their selfless acts of volunteering. My heartfelt congratulations to once again to all those 10 outstanding volunteers and the V awardees, and I hope your efforts create a ripple effect by encouraging and inspiring millions of other volunteers and your fellow citizens. I stand here to commend the efforts led by United Nations volunteers, the UN Development Programme, and the UN agencies for encouraging, enabling, and empowering youth and people of all ages through volunteering opportunities for national and global development. Government of India is working together with partners and stakeholders around the world to sustain and empower youth and volunteers. You all are truly an inspiration, and it is your energy, enthusiasm, and passion that fuels innovative ideas and affirmative action. You all must support those in need, act responsibly, and volunteer, for the world looks up to the largest democracy of young adults to lead them and achieve sustainable development goals which have been set, and the target is to achieve that by 2030. And as we have seen in the past, India leading from the front, whether it was the generation of the green energy to other sectors, India has achieved those goals well in advance. And I'm sure when it will come to the SDGs, we will not wait for the 2030 to achieve that. India will be able to achieve that much before. So I wish you all a very happy International Volunteers Day 2022. Making your country proud. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, the endearing manner in which you not only awarded the awardees, but encouraged and inspired them by talking to them about their work, by infusing enthusiasm in them, by congratulating them. Thank you so much for your kind words, which will surely resonate in the hearts of all youth and volunteers. Panchpran, advocated by Honorable Prime Minister of India, will surely indeed guide the youth of the country. And thank you for reminding the youth of today about that. Thank you so much once again. And thank you for taking out your precious time for us out of your busy schedule. And in case you want to leave because of your commitment to the prior engagements, you're most welcome to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep sitting as we wait for him to depart from here. Thank you so much. So, continuing the evening, I now request Ms. Andrea M. Wojner. She is representative of UNFPA India and Country Director of UNFPA Bhutan, for her remarks. Thank you.
Okay. Smriti Mehta, Lokan Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Shri Nitesh Kumar Mishra, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Shri Rajendra Singh, National Disaster Management Authority. My UN colleagues, Mr. Shambi Sharp, Resident Coordinator, Shoko Noda, UNDP Representative, Cynthia McCaffrey, Representative UNICEF, and Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager, Asia Pacific UN Volunteers. And finally, Mr. Sri Ravi Bhatnagar, former UNFPA employee and Director of External Affairs and Partnerships, Rekit Benkaiser. And my dear youth, namaskar and hello. Mary Yuva Dostan. As a former Peace Corps volunteer for the United States who had a life-changing experience, I'm delighted to be with you tonight and to see so many young faces in the audience. You bring me energy, hope, and positive enthusiasm as we come out of the pandemic. And you inspire me into hoping that you will have as life-changing experience as a volunteer that I had. A huge congratulations to the amazing winners of the V Awards, who have shown great commitment, dedication, and effort for the social development of the country and their commitments. And thank you to all the partners who made it happen. The last 2 years have been challenging for all of us, and even more so for young people. But know this, you are supported, heard, valued, and seen. We have witnessed great work of young volunteers during the pandemic, like that of Kamini, a spirited 18-year-old girl from Chhatarpur district in Madhya Pradesh, who convinced all her community members to get vaccinated against COVID when people being scared and apprehensive dominated. And in a very short span of time, she made her village the first village in the district to have 100% vaccination rate. We are now 8 billion strong. Humanity is stronger than ever before, and a large proportion of the strength comes from you, the youth, the pulse of the nation. The present and the future indeed belongs to you. There are 108 billion young people between the ages of 10 and 24 in the world. And in India, soon to be the most populous nation, every third person is a young person. India's largest cohort of young people is a resource for solving global issues. Moyas and the government of India's youth-centric policies are indeed making this a reality. Volunteerism is woven into the very fabric of Indian life. Swami Vivekananda spent his youth and adult life volunteering for the upliftment of people. He and many more leaders like him have shown the true essence of solidarity through volunteerism, which is also the theme of this year's International Volunteers Day. UNFPA, my sister agencies, and UN volunteers recognize youth as equal partners in the development of a country, which includes creating equal spaces for youth to express their views and platforms for their equal participation in decision-making. Before I conclude, I would like to say, in the words of UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, all of our hopes for a better world rest on young people. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this very happy and optimistic event. I wish all the young people here great success, and may all, young and old, remain in solidarity for life. Dhanyawad.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We really appreciate your good wishes, your kind words. And now I have the pleasure of inviting Ms. Cynthia McCaffrey, Representative UNICEF India, for her remarks on this very special occasion.
Whew. Wow. Thank you, Honorable Secretary. honorable representatives from the Government of India, UN volunteers, and the winners today, thank you so much for all you've done and for the opportunity for UNICEF to join you here today alongside our UN partners, particularly UN volunteers, UNDP, and our resident coordinator. Thank you so much. We've heard a lot about COVID, and it was only 3 years ago that we heard of the novel coronavirus, and we did not know what was coming. But as the secretary so rightly said, it was the volunteers who moved quickly and effectively to go into the communities and to work for the communities. And as the minister said, we saw the best of humanity in you, the volunteers. You gave us an example that we can live up to, and that, as my colleague from UNFPA just said, that we can live by together in solidarity. So what you have done and shown us for the COVID-19 response is incredible. Secondly, what you are showing us with your courage and your leadership to attain the Sustainable Development Goals is as admirable and is as important. We have just 7 years to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and it is you, the youth, led by the youth of India, who are helping us to go fearlessly toward the problems of climate change, to look at how to respond and help the world in a pandemic and prepare the systems better for the next emergency. It's because of you that we have hope to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals for everyone, everywhere, no matter where they were born or no matter what their background. Let me also say, finally, how important this point of solidarity is. Your actions, your work, manifest a solidarity that pull the world together. As we've heard for many weeks and just now, there are 8 billion of us on Earth. So our working together across generations, across countries, is more important than ever before. And so as we look at examples that we see in UVA, which is an incredible coming together across not just the public sector and across youth, but across the private sector and volunteer organizations, coming together to find how do we find futures for each other and with each other? How do we identify the problems and tackle them with genuine solutions that here in India, we are rolling out across the country, but we are creating examples and models that we can share with the world and help them to have the same in their ethos, volunteerism, and that same strength of community. Which brings me to my final point, that we look forward to working together across India and taking these types of models and examples that we've seen here today with all these winners through the G20 and India's leadership of the G20, and to take these ideas, this energy, and these examples. With that, thank you again, and congratulations to all of the winners and to all of the youth for what you've done for India and what you're showing the rest of the world.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very inspiring words. It's my honor now to welcome Joint Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Nitesh Mishra, for his special remarks.
Thank you so much. Sri Sombi Saab, UN Resident Coordinator in India. Ms. Soko Noda, Resident Representative UNDP. Ms. Andrea M. Wozna, UNFPA India Representative and Bhutan. Ms. Cynthia McCaffrey, Representative UNICEF India. Ms. Salini Mia, Regional Manager Asia Pacific UN Volunteers. And Sri Ravi Bhatnagar, Director External Affairs and Partnership, Bankisa. Namaskar, and all the UN officials and the UN volunteers and the proud winners. Namaskar to all of you. Today on International Volunteer Day, I take this opportunity to honor the dedication, and willpower of volunteers across India and the world over. Volunteerism is a powerful and cross-cutting way of acting for sustainable development goals. Volunteers are key for peace and development worldwide. The program of the Government of India, the Nehru Yuva Sangathan and National Service Scheme are one of the world's largest volunteering platforms for the youth. The Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India stays committed and invested in youth development, and we continue to strengthen the foundations of education, entrepreneurship, skilling and employment in India. I stand here to commend the efforts led by United Nations volunteers and the United Nations Development Programme for empowering youth and people of all ages through volunteering opportunity for a national and global development. Wishing all a very happy International Volunteers Day and congratulations to all the winners. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your very inspiring words, and I'm sure it will fuel the youth of our country to intensify their action and dedication for volunteerism. I now acknowledge our honorable jury, who very meticulously went through multiple rounds of screening, the applications, debated and discussed to finally emerge with the top 10 V awardees. I request Mr. Ravi Bhatnagar to felicitate the jury members. Mr. Kaustav Chatterjee, he's not here with us today, but let me just brief you about him. He has over 24 years of experience in the media and telecom sector in India and is currently the director of the Times of India. Mr. Rupinder Singh Sodhi was also one of our jury, has a long association with Indian judicial system. He served as a judge in Delhi High Court from 1999 to 2007. He is also not present, but the award, the honor, which we are according to our judges, will be given to him later. We have with us 3 of the 5 judges. Dr. Ms. Neeru Snehi is here. She is Assistant Professor, Higher and Professional Education, National University of Planning and Administration, NUEPA. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and effort and selecting the best out of so many applications. Ms. Alka Narang was also one of our jury members. She has strongly advocated for inclusive and integrated development interventions. She's been associated with UNDP in various positions over 25 years. Ms. Alka Narang, please. Okay, she's also not here. Ms. Kanta Singh. She has 25 years of experience in the management of pro-women development programs. Currently, she is a Deputy Country Representative, UN Women India. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And now I request Ms. Shalina Mia, Regional Manager, Asia Pacific UN Volunteers, for her vote of thanks.
Shri Nitesh Kumar Mishra, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. My colleagues in the UN system, Mr. Shombi Shark, Coordinator, Ms. Shokonada, UNDP Resident Representative, Ms. Cynthia McFrey, Representative UNICEF India, Ms. Andrea Wojnar, UNFPA India Representative and Bhutan Country Director, Shri Ravi Bhatnagar, Director of External Affairs and Partnership, Rekit Banki sir. Namaskar everyone, a very good evening. I'm really happy to be here today with all of you for this celebration. After the COVID pandemic, this is the first time I'm away from Bangkok, from Thailand, to celebrate the International Volunteer Day, and it's such a pleasure to be in India today. On behalf of the United Nations Volunteers Program, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this program, which brings us together to celebrate the spirit of volunteerism for transforming our world for the better. I'm delighted to see many volunteers here as we celebrate the International Volunteer Day. As Honorable Minister said, it was a privilege to have him with us today and hear from the Government of India's vision of youth development and volunteerism. Thank you for inspiring the young volunteers and acknowledging that volunteers demonstrate the best of humanity through compassion, solidarity, and progressive action. I would like to express my gratitude to Joint Secretary, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport, Mr. Nitesh Kumar Mishra, for his guidance and constant support. Thanks for showing direction to build a conducive environment where volunteering can flourish and prosper. My gratitude to the United Nations Resident Coordinator, Mr. Shombi Sharp. The event wouldn't have been possible without your support. Thanks for sharing the vision of the UN Secretary General on this International Volunteer Day. My sincere thanks to UNDP Resident Representative Shoko Noda for her continuous guidance and all the support to the United Nations volunteers. Your support has always helped our volunteers to execute the challenging task that volunteerism entails. Thanks to Cynthia McFrey, UNICEF representative, for highlighting that volunteers bring unique capabilities and knowledge that often make them the main source of help, especially in disaster response, taking the Sustainable Development Goals to communities, families, and those who are furthest behind to ensure that we leave no one behind, as said by the SDGs. Thank you to Andrea from UNFPA for your encouragement. This has given us a new impetus to volunteering work. Thanks for your heartening words and recognizing the volunteers as unsung heroes who bring hope and inspiration and being change makers in our communities. Thank you, Mr. Ravi Bhatnagar, for your participation and felicitating the jury members, without whom it would have been impossible to shortlist those great awardees. Private sector has a unique role to play in promoting volunteerism, and we look forward partnering further with you. I also extend my sincere thanks to the esteemed jury. Without your generosity, knowledge, and patience, it would have not been possible to choose the top 10 V awardees from the cutthroat competition. It was indeed a very tough competition. We received an overwhelming response, but today we are celebrating all volunteers, all those that are the unsung heroes that are working day in, day out to help each other. A big congratulations to all the volunteer awardees who acted as a change maker within their communities by working together in solidarity and personifying inspiration in action. Keep up the good work. We are inspired by your efforts and dedication. High five to the V Awards for the 5 years milestone. The V Awards completes the 5 years, or 60 months, or 260 weeks, or 1,825 days. However you count, it will add up to 5 years, 60 months, 260 weeks, 1,825 days of solidarity, impact, and pure joy. I would like to take this opportunity to place a record hearty thanks to the student of Adhar Shiksha Niketan School for their mesmerizing performance, and Ms. Ridhika for the Bharatanatyam performance, for showcasing a true culture of Indian tradition. Thanks to the Chisai band who will be performing and making this evening a special one for all of us. I hope you enjoyed that as well. I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank my team, the United Nations Volunteers Field Unit here in India, who have worked relentlessly for the past few weeks to make today possible and successful. Thank you. My generous thanks to all the guest invitees and the students who have come from different destinations for gracing this event, and to all the volunteers in India and across the world. In line with the International Volunteer Day celebration, as I conclude, allow me to re-emphasize this year's theme, solidarity through volunteering, that calls for the power of our collective humanity to drive a positive change through volunteerism. Through the hashtag campaign Together Act Now, UNV is also calling for unity, urgent action, and drives outreach aimed at promoting, mobilizing, and advocating for volunteerism, as well as recognizing the invaluable contribution of volunteers worldwide. Today's world gives us a glimpse of the unprecedented challenges we must tackle through joint efforts. Climate crisis, food crisis, inequalities, poverty, and gender disparities implore that we need to work together to find common and sustainable solutions. For the future of our planet, we must act together, and we must act now. This is not an era to stand alone, but together as one, in solidarity with each other. Let us together act now. Together we are stronger. Together we can create change. Together for the common good. Together we make a difference. Together we find sustainable solutions. We can only achieve this if we engage everyone, especially the young generations. I take this opportunity to wish luck and encourage participants to keep up the excellent work, which will bring a significant impact to the community, the local level, the national level, and international level. Good luck, and once again, happy International Volunteer Day. Dhanyabad.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful evening, as today's celebrations come to an end, we thank you all for being a lovely audience, cheering our young volunteers and walking the journey with us. The event is still not over. We'll enjoy live music with high tea in Amalthas Lawn. And thanks to all our wonderful, eminent dignitaries for sparing their valuable time and being with us, encouraging all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. A big round of applause for the volunteers, once again, the awardees, and of course, our dignitaries, and for all of you for being such a wonderful, appreciative audience. Thank you. Along with the high tea, we have performance by very popular musical band, Musical Chisai. So enjoy the live music with high tea.
Thank you so much.